Yes, go ahead. Thanks, Kari.
Welcome, everybody. My name's Kari Noren-Hoshal, and today we're talking about the astrology of the Mayan calendar. I'm so pleased to have with me a true expert born to be reading the calendar, Jose Federico Munoz, and his contact information is on your screen now, along with mine. Today we had a little bit less time than usual to look up people's Mayan signs. So I'm going to go right to the next screen and show you how to find yours while I'm giving the general introduction. You'll see that it's mymayansign.com, and it'll ask for your birth date. It doesn't ask where you were born, but it will also ask if you were born before 2:30 in the morning, Eastern Standard Time or Eastern Daylight Time, if it was the summer. And that can make the difference between one sign or another. But I will tell you that the best way to be certain of your sign would be to contact Jose, because he does charts that are not just your present experience, but he looks at the sign under which you were born. He looks at where you are now and where you will be going, and gives direction for all of those different dimensions of our lives. So my research on the Mayan calendar began in about 2007, because people were asking me, what's going to happen when the Mayan calendar ends? And of course, I wanted to be ready to know that, but I was also interested from a personal perspective. I grew up in Latin America and was living in Panama, Colombia, Nicaragua, and our family used to travel by car to visit our relatives in the States. So if you could call it an archaeological monument, my dad would take us there. Any pile of rocks that called itself a archaeological site was going to be a good place for us to visit. So I've visited many of these places, as has Jose, and Jose has been visiting them very recently with the resurgence of native interest that has grown ever since well before 2012. And there are large-scale celebrations going on all the time, year-round, with groups from all over the world. So it's a very exciting thing to learn about, and I'm just so fortunate to have met Jose through Facebook, actually, and he came to visit in Baltimore, where I was doing astrology up until the summer. So what we call the Mayan Sixth Sun began December 22nd of 2012, according to, the popularized time. But these are such large cycles, 5,126 years, that, coming to an exact moment is just that. It's our Western need for an exact date. So each Mayan sun or calendar is 5,126 years long, and it makes up 1/5 of a precession cycle, which is 26,000 years. So you take that number and multiply by 5. The precession of the equinox is the time it takes the North Pole of the Earth to rotate through all 12 signs of the zodiac. And those are each approximately 2,000 years. So what do we mean when we say that the North Pole is going through the signs? The Earth was hit by a meteorite a long time ago, and that would have caused the 23-degree tilt. And this collision has also been popularly made responsible for the demise of the dinosaurs, because such a huge cloud of dust arose from that collision that it brought on the cooling temperatures that caused the ice age. Now, since each astrological age is 2,160 years long, and that means that the North Pole star is taking that amount of time to go through the constellation in the sky, then if you really do the exact math, rather than 26,000 years, the exact number is 25,920. So this is just to give you a visual of what that looks like. There's this smaller circle being traced in the sky by the pole star. And it's really interesting that the Mesoamerican, so the Mayan calendar long count dates the creation of human beings to around 314 BC, just as the Julian and Gregorian calendars do. So the absolute accuracy of the Mayan mathematics and astrology is truly astounding. If we add that number, 3,114 BC to 2012 AD, we get exactly 5,126 years. So this is really huge. We're talking about the beginning of the human era, the human age, up until our current time. And we can see this depicted in the Mayan because there are 4 square points on this calendar. The calendars of the Maya are circular. And then in the center is the face, which was the 5th. And now we've moved on to the 6th calendar. So this is a momentous time because not only are we living at the beginning of the age of Aquarius, a 2,160-year cycle, we've just crossed that line in 2012 from Pisces into Aquarius because those move backwards through the zodiac, but we're also exactly at the time of the 6th sun. Another thing that I found really fascinating was that the Mayan astronomy estimates the age of the universe to be about 14 billion years old. And that's only 30 million years off from the recent NASA estimate, 13.7. So, you know, we're not certain exactly what contact probably with cultures from other star systems and planets was being given to the Maya. It is widely surmised that they are Atlantean people who were starseed. They were born from a culture coming from perhaps the Syrian star system, as the Egyptians have said. But their calculations are absolutely astounding, absolutely incredible. So this is where we find ourselves now at this crucial moment. So I wanted to just tell you a little bit about Jose. He's just had this wildfire on Facebook the last 4 days with his predictions about Trump, Sanders, and Hillary Clinton. And at the end of this presentation, I would love for Jose to expand a little bit on this because it is just so fascinating. He's done charts on these people. And Jose, had you actually talked with Trump to do a chart with him?
We were actually in the same classroom when we were studying that Tibetan black hat sect of like of feng shui. That was
feng shui,
back in the day.
Wow. So you actually met with him. Did you do his chart at that time, or did you keep in touch?
Master Larry Sang did. I'm talking about 1983, I believe.
Wow, that's cool. So Jose is the keeper of Cimi Scully, the ancient Amazonian skull. Do you have Kame? Here he is in all of his glory. He just glows. This skull has been designated the 9th of the 13 central crystal skulls on the planet. And you can see the size, and I can attest to the power of this skull. You stand within 4 feet of it, and you feel the vibrations. It's so fascinating to me also, if you look on the screen, that where the cheekbone would be, there's this very stylized, it almost looks more like the bumper of a car. And then there's a north to south line as well, which in the Mayan cosmology, as I know it, signifies the great tree, the great crossroads of life. Do you interpret this, Jose? I've never asked you that. Do you see that cross as being part of the great tree?
It has kept evolving. You have not seen her for about a year now. So yes, that's one of the interpretations that we gladly work with. Yes.
Wonderful, wonderful. Yeah, it seems so clear. So the 13 ancient crystal skulls support a crystalline grid of protection and communication around our Mother Earth. And they're located and activated to do this work as of 2012. Were there also meetings before? Because you've had the skull now 10 years or so. When would you say that the idea first came up, Jose?
There is a crystal skull council, which doesn't really support this version of the 13 skulls. And then there is the Elders Council, which might or might not support, depending on who you're speaking with. So the one skull that I have, which went on tour with Wandering Wolf and Humbert's Man and all those guys, started in 2005, actually, and then it solidified more in 2009, and then finally in 2011, we actually did a tour from New York to the West Coast in Los Angeles.
Yes.
As of right now, we are familiar that there is over 5,200 skulls that are ancient. There's 88 that are out in the world, with the latest found in Romania. And the one I have actually was found back in the 1950s in Argentina, but it was gifted to me in 1992. So there's a procession of events towards these gatherings that have come to the past now.
Absolutely. And one of the things that I've been really cluing into and I'm fascinated to do research on next is that these skulls are probably on the ley lines just as the ancient Mayan sites are, the ancient Egyptian sites are. They are found and they are housed at certain locations which are advantageous to the support of the crystalline grid. Does that make sense to what you understand?
Yes, we have mathematical formulas where all the skulls have been deposited in ancient past, and also we are actively redepositing other crystals in those same ley lines with that telluric energies are around the world. Yeah.
That's fantastic. I think that is amazing because as a really enthusiastic watcher of the show Ancient Aliens, what I've come to understand is that there will be a time of greater activation. And that the fact that we are now becoming really on a large scale, many people are becoming aware of this, is making it more probable that that activation is coming up pretty soon. Do you have any ideas on this or any information you can share?
Yes, this is a very timely subject because one of our time travelers, who we call Carol Fitzpatrick. She is actually going to be with us in Guatemala and Lake Atitlan, which is one of the sites that most people forgot there is an ancient city under the lake.
Yes.
So there is lots of activations going on, which started in New Mexico this summer. And now it's moving on to Lake Atitlan, and then after that, there's a list of sites that it's going to be happening.
Wow, that's very exciting. So people can see that on your Facebook and your website?
It's kind of for your eyes only type of thing. So yes, if people want more information on it, they can definitely give me an email with serious interest in participating, things like that.
Absolutely. That I'm sure will be a lot of interest to many people, including myself. So there are 20 Mayan signs, and there are 5 for each of the 4 directions. And originally they were conceived in part on a day-to-day basis to discuss favorable actions for each day: planting, caring for the home, sacred rites. And so what we can do is to combine the information of our Mayan day signs with evolutionary astrology charts to give us more information about ourselves. The mathematical system, some Western researchers have suggested that because we've got 5 fingers on each hand and 5 toes, that perhaps this is part of the reason why the number 20 is so important to Mayan astrology. And it's very, very economical. You use a 0, you use a shell shape to indicate the 0. 1 is a dot and 5 is a bar. So you combine it somewhat in the way that we think of Roman numerals. Is there anything else that we should share about the number 20? Jose? Oh, you're muted, Jose. There you go.
I feel for mathematical purposes and time purposes, that's probably plenty.
Okay, very good. So if you're on with us and you want to find your sign quickly, go to mymayansign.com, enter your birth date, and indicate whether you were born before 2:30 a.m. Okay, so these are the 20 Mayan day signs indicated by north, south, east, and west. And we're going to start with crocodile. The crocodiles that I have known really are people who can bring incredibly new knowledge to the planet. They have a very strong creative force. And I'm thinking of Linda Tucker, the keeper of the white lions. Like a mother with the white lions, she is fiercely protective and is doing all kinds of incredibly good work, including with her foundation to bring their cause to the public. So crocodiles are very, very protective of their young, and they require quite a lot of privacy as well. They're not easy to get to know, but this is because they are working so hard and so passionately toward the ends that they are trying to accomplish. Creating a home and a family and founding a business, or in the case of Linda Tucker, you know, a great enterprise of a charitable foundation that not only helps white lions, but the people that live in that surrounding community, the people who are impacted by these animals, has been an incredible reason for living. Jose, is there something you'd like to add about Imix? Oh, you're muted right now, Jose.
Yeah, my apologies. For some reason, I had this other meetings scheduled with the Indonesian people towards the crypto coin currency.
Oh goodness. Okay.
So it is over now. I am fully
Yay!
now.
Jose is in the house. Okay.
Yeah. So what happens with the crocodiles in the New World, which started in 2013, or actually December 22nd of 2012, the crocodiles have become the ones who know them all. You cannot argue with them. They're always right, whether we like it or not. So usually when you find a crocodile in your life, it's better if you listen to what they have to say blindly.
Yeah. and just realize, because in the Egyptian culture, crocodile created the world. So there's a reason why they feel like they know what they know. And I think there are so many similarities. Are there any ancient myths about the crocodile in creation for the Maya?
Yeah, the crocodile not only created the world, but created the universes and the multi-dimensions that we have. So we see them as empty lakes, and all ancient wisdoms of the past, the present, and the future are the rivers and creeks who filled up this empty lake with wisdom. So that is the why they are very, very wise, and they know it all. And when they don't step in those shoes, then they're always trying to please other people, and that's when everything become lost. So
Yeah.
yes, we know the crocodiles to be the creators. It's also the day when most of the massive earthquakes have happened throughout history.
Wow, very cool. Okay, so Eek is the wind. Now, Bernie Sanders, in my calculation from the website, was the wind. Do you see Bernie Sanders born as Eek? Uh-oh. Muting. Jose. Yeah.
Yes, when I did the reading for these guys, you know, by ethically, I do a reading and I put it behind me so I don't look at it back at it. What
Yeah.
I know, he was not the wind. It was the sign after it.
Okay, so the time of his birth made a difference. Okay.
Right. So what do you have as his birthday? Do you have his birthday data?
Yeah, September 8th, 1941, 12:27 p.m. in New York. So that's Eastern time.
All right. September 12th, 19 what?
September 8th, 1941. $12:27 p.m.
So we have in the present actually there is a combination that shows the winds, the jaguar, the condor, the dog, and the star seed. So yes, Ik win number 10. And so what I predicted for his candidacy at that time, they were not actually the candidates. They were just trying to become the candidates of the Democratic Party, and so was Donald Trump was still running to see if he will become the candidate. So what I said on Bernie Sanders, based on what I have here, is that he was not, blunt words. I'm sorry, there is, I don't know any other way to say it, but he was not, and still is not good enough to be a president or the leader of the free world. And this is what I said on the radio. So I got a lot of heat over it, of course, especially at that time. But I also said that he will betray his followers, which has come to pass in the actual 3D world. So I had to revisit that and the networks lately because of Oprah talking about trying to become maybe possibly for like the year 2020.
Yes.
So I have the full-on chart here now that I can share, but maybe we save that for Wendy. I don't know. You tell me.
Yes, we want to definitely do Wendy's chart for sure. Let's go on because we've got exactly 1 hour as I understand it. Akbal was Donald Trump's birth sign, And whereas wind is all about communication, Akbal is about your resources. It's security oriented. So when they said to Trump, become the president, but divest yourself of your businesses, he said, sure, and put all of his lawyers to work to figure out how to hide them all, including with his children. But, you know, he is a person that inspires confidence in people. Some people don't really know why they think he's such a leader, but they just feel inspired by him. And they do bring a new era to come. And some people have said, and I'm curious to know your opinion, Jose, that, you know, he's not a Republican. He's not a Democrat. He's somewhere in this weird, you know, place in between that's never really been visited. How do you see that?
He is very unique. I'm not muted, right? You can hear me?
Yes, uh-huh.
I can't tell right now, but so the Akbal and the New World, and I'm stating the New World because it is different than the Mayan calendar, the Mayan world.
Uh-huh.
So the
Yes,
Akbal in the New World is seen as the night eagle, which already has the eagle vision to solve problems. But also, as you know, the eagles in the 3D world, they have that 360 vision. That is the wise. He always will be an excellent issue solver.
Uh-huh.
And now with the night eagle, this is what gives them the ability to see things that most people in the world cannot see.
Right.
That is why he finds these niches of how to trigger people, how to basically everybody who is around them are doing exactly what he wants them to do.
Mm-hmm,
And they don't even see it. They cannot see it. They don't know it how or the why. But everything that he will want, people are going to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's pretty fascinating to see how he can manipulate large groups of people.
If I may add to the fact that he gained the wisdom of the Tibetan people, not just the Tibetan, but the black hat Tibetan people, which are very, very, very out there in the wisdoms of wizardry and warlocks.
Yeah.
So this is what we have leading the world, and some of us don't like it, some of us love it. It is in time, at the right place, in the right space in the universe. So, I'll say, you know, anyone who comes into my field, they are already into this evolution stage where they are willing to accept what's coming from the universe and move forward.
Right. Instead of saying, this can't be happening, I've got to move to Canada and all of that. Uh-huh. Yeah. Gotcha. Okay, Khan, the seed or lizard. These people are creative performers and they are very magnetic. They're active and dynamic and they're networkers. So if you think about, you know, the fact that the lizard is so changeable, it can, you know, create whatever it needs to in terms of in nature, its own camouflage. But they are also very, very fertile. And so they get involved in a lot of new creations, a lot of new types of activities. In the New World, has Can changed?
It has evolved. And again, I want to say that the New World is the one where we accept the fact that we can see past, present, and future at the same time. So
yeah,
by stating that, that means that it has not lost any of its attributes or shadows. It came as it was, but it has added to the fact that the seed has taken forward. So anyone on this side in the middle or in any one of the 15 personalities that we acknowledge in the New World is someone who is specifically very good to produce prosperity, material prosperity. So that's something.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, that's not really mentioned here. I think that needs to be added for sure. Okay, so Cimi the Transformer, the skull's name, the skull that you are the caretaker for, Kame and Cimi, both mean transformation. And so there is this connection to past, present, and future all at once. And the fact that, you know, the skull is absorbing and also giving information at the same time. It is very disciplined, but also self-sacrificing, because it has to be taking it all in and being the recorder of so many huge changes that are going on. So in the old world, the solution was to become useful to society. And I would say that your skull traveling as much as it does, I mean, I'd say you must be traveling 330 days out of the 365. This skull has been everywhere, and it transforms people's lives because they understand the concept of this ancient computer that is so incredibly dynamic and yet so simple at the same time. Tell us your perspective on Cimi the Transformer.
It's definitely a transformer for the greater good, the greatest good. In the traditional way, we acknowledge that transformers, the kids, the children who are born under this sign, we mold them into psychics and people
Yes.
who can see between the spiritual world and the 3D world. So that's the we still do that. When we come to the crystal skull named Cimi, it has transformed so many lives since forever, I will say. But I have witnessed miracles in people. I have witnessed so much that I could share. So I only see the good attributes of the signs. So the Camis, the Cimis, the Transformers, that's the power they have. They have the power to transform people's lives.
Absolutely. Yes, and we saw this. The white buffalo were in a really crucial moment. And when we were saying those prayers in March, it only took us until August to know that we were moving and that it was the right place to go. And I remember feeling, because Harriet and I were praying so fervently for this to happen, as were all of the friends there at that meeting when you came to us in March. I can only say that things changed a lot from that month forward. Absolutely. So Manik is the deer, and this is your sign. Manik are accomplished and very instinctive and extremely generous. So they don't put themselves first. They are always thinking about how to be of service. And in your own chart, also being a Virgo, you are service times 1,000 because you also have so many planets in Virgo. Nomadic, absolutely. I see that about you. And very artistic and individualistic. Some people don't know that you have this great background in ethnobotany and that you came to become the keeper of the skull after leaving a very successful career. And yet the future may hold for you to be heading up a great seed bank for the planet. And I see this as an incredibly creative and at the same time very generous potential future to add to everything you're doing now. What do you see about the pilgrimage? How do you approach this, taking on these huge, responsibilities with the skull and other things?
It's a way of life. So as a deer, I was born on 9/14/1966. So that makes me an Ahau or an Akbal, a master adapter. The reason why my name is Manik is because I was born in the year of the deer, which adds up a whole other dimension to your life. So I'm one of those combinations that are very, very effective at what I do, which is
Yeah.
yes, service the people, but also create in many different aspects for others. And yes, I have accepted that mission since I was born, and then more since I was 13. So in the day, sacred day of the deer, which is today, actually,
Yes, it is.
we acknowledge the fact that we're here to be of service, but we're also here to enjoy life and protect Mother Earth, which is the other aspect of the deer. Is we are the protectors of the forest.
The protectors. I love that. Yeah. Okay, now Muluc as water, imaginative, dynamic, communicative, artistic. Many of these are very understanding, imaginative. There are many things that they have in common. You know, they have this psychic awareness. But the use of Maya water for baptism and purification is another, dimension here. So it's a good day to offer appreciation. Do you see this as being one of the primary aspects of Muluc? I don't know many people that are born under Muluc.
For the water, we have to go back to Bruce Lee. He always was asking to be like water.
Yes, be like the water.
So the water transform is very powerful to destroy, as we know. If you live in the Western United States right now, we know a few principals just went through that period in Montecito, California. But also, we know that Muluc is actually one of the names that we put. I have to say, there's 132 different Mayan tribes, and there's 132 different languages. So actually, Muluc in some tribes it means fire.
Right, so, I know. I was reading that. So they're so opposite.
So by saying this, I just have to say we respect all the counters and all the different perceptions and different versions of what we have here today.
Yes.
So we honor it as the water of transforming instead of destructing, creating.
Okay. And to be adaptable, I guess, in many ways.
Absolutely. Malleable, yes.
Yeah. Now, Lamat is Oprah Winfrey's birth sign, I believe. I looked up her birthday. I'm going to give it to you so you can check it for me. She is January 29th, 1954, 4:30 a.m. in Central Time. January 29th, yeah.
She's the one that I did. It's January, you said?
Yeah, January 29th, 1954.
Yes, I did a chart on her, and one of the timekeepers that I work with internationally, because Camille or Lamat is a star seed, basically an alien that took over a human body to help humanity. That is the good version. And the version that my colleague had was that she is actually a reptilian. So take it as so even if she was, still I only see the good things. So in my prediction of her was she could become the president of the United States if she was willing to wait until 2024. So I actually asked people, her contacts, to deliver my message to her personally. I don't know if they did or not, or what she will do with it, but it will be advisable. She will be a really good leader of the free world, but not in this next one. I hope she doesn't make the mistakes of running in 2020.
Exactly, yeah, because it won't be the right time. And I've heard this from other sources as well. So I think that it's out there in the transpersonal consciousness right now. that she needs to wait just a little bit longer. But, you know, some of these characteristics, generous, harmony-seeking, good-humored, very busy and energetic. You remember she started the school for African women, and, you know, she's done so many good works. It's really pretty incredible. But you know that both she and Ellen DeGeneres lost their LA mansions yesterday to the mudslides. They were on the Weather Channel digging through and trying to find certain rooms of the house that had been filled up with mud. So it's kind of interesting because they're also both Aquarian women, Aquarius sun sign.
Yeah, in the radio, I was asking for prayers for that area before it happened. Literally 8 hours before it happened, I actually asked some people on the radio that were living in the area to go to the ocean and pray to the waters to be gentle. It was really wild to see.
So you were seeing it coming, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it was really wild to see the news the next day at 4 a.m. It was like, wow, we were like almost on time, almost.
Oh my goodness! Wow.
Mm.
Yeah. Okay. Now the dog is traditionally in many cultures representing the North and loyalty and participation. But they're also courageous and sensual. They know how to enjoy life. And so what I have seen when I've met people who are the dog is that they are able to have a sense of humor about their lives. They are very companionship oriented. So if they feel that it's more important to, you know, work for a while at a job that's pretty demanding, they balance that out with some time, perhaps in the summer or the next year they won't work quite as hard. Have you seen that in people that are oak or the dog?
Yeah, one is, again, I only see the virtues of them. So I only see working lawyers. They're great lawyers, great injustice.
There we go.
But they're also very prone to betrayal because they put justice in such a high bar that it's easy. They see betrayal in a lot of ways that we don't. So it's okay. Again, I was gonna mention before we move forward.
Yes.
Oprah's birthday. You have it of 1959?
1954?
1954, yes, correct. Okay. Correct. Was just an observation.
Okay. All righty. So the dog is very sensitive and reads undercurrents that other people may not see of betrayal. So that's an interesting aspect. Okay, now the monkey, you know, artistry and being multifaceted, being very playful and curious, attention-seeking. This is pretty similar to the Chinese description, and it's called the Weaver of Time. So, you know, they have new patterns or inventions with strong personalities. In the Chinese, they're very high strung. In other words, you don't want to make them angry because they can be pretty, they can turn on you very quickly. But one thing that the Chinese and the Maya seem to share is the short attention span. They are so brilliant and so creative that they're moving from A to B to C to D to Z, you know, very quickly. Any observations on that?
Yes, we're in our tribe. We call them tricksters, actually. The monkeys are to the North American tribes are the foxes or the hayokas, they call it.
Yeah, the hayokas.
But they're also extremely artistic, so that's how we know them. as the artist. We also know them as the jack of all trades. They can perform any job efficiently. But we have observed through the observations in this lifetime, we have observed that they're very good writers and very good painters. Anything that signifies art, the monkey are the best at them.
Oh, very cool. Now, when we get to the road or ebb, these people are pleasant and dedicated, hardworking, and very sensitive. What I've known of these people is they are truly caretakers. They dedicate themselves and they don't require a lot of attention. But they do have an issue of suppressing anger or suppressing what they'd really like to be doing. So it's very important for them, I think, to communicate, to have a counselor or to have a mate that they can really share their lives with, because otherwise it's just a drudgery. Is that what you've seen with them?
Yes, that is actually the one point that why I predicted that Oprah wouldn't become a president in 2020, and it will be better for her to wait, because in the future she is Ebb number 9, the road number 9. So that indicates that she needs to learn patience before she can.
There we go. Okay, another 4 years to really understand what she's undertaking. Gotcha.
Yes.
Okay. Now, Ben is the read, and that was Obama's birth sign. Messenger, spiritual, accomplished, consoling, compassionate, very knowledgeable, and very worldly in many ways. And so the Ben is the read. It can, if it has to sway with helping the majority, then it's going to do that. If it needs to go the other way because there's an important minority that is being abused, then it will move in that way. But it generally is very knowledgeable about working with people as a negotiator.
Yes, so that's another of the aspects that the question might come out early when people are the same sign or they're the same kind. And that is, yes, Obama is such a great orator and such a great leader. And that is the potential of Oprah. That's how she can be if she just become a little patient.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Yeah. Ix is the Jaguar. Many of the shamans are very mysterious. They're hard to get to know. They're secretive. They're very psychic, and they are they are very self-protective. You know, they're going to come out at night. They're nocturnal. And so patients born of strength is not to attack directly in the broad daylight, but to wait for the moment when they feel the strongest, which is at night. Anything there?
Yes, the Jaguar, like the owl or the Akbal,
Yes.
they rule the night together.
Yes.
So there's some people that have both of them in within their 15 personalities. One of them is my son Luigi. He's 24. So yes, he rumbles in the jungles. But the one particular piece of action that these individuals have is they don't stop at nothing to get what they want. And sometimes that might become very, very negative if you have this power of the medicine, the most medicine men and women, or shamans as we call them sometimes, they become the abuser and the ones who manipulate both males and females, but mostly females for their different agendas. So that's an issue that I like to just put out there, that the Jaguars, when, again, I don't see shadows in people, but in this particular one, I pay attention because I move in that world of shamanism and spiritual world with many medicine men and women, which I always call out to their best behaviors when I see things that are not properly being done, not just here in the U.S., but, around wherever I go.
Exactly. Yes, you have to be so careful in the shamanic world. Absolutely.
It is the biggest dismiss of the Jaguars because they're so good at protecting when they
Yes.
are in their highest good, but when they want
Yes.
something, doesn't matter what it is, or
Yes.
how they get it, they're gonna get it, and
They're gonna
sometimes
get it.
people on the way get hurt.
Yes. Yes. So now the eagle, you know, very overview oriented, but very wise and scientific, detail oriented. So we always say the eagle eye, you know, the person who can see the details. And so they will have a tendency toward the escapism because they want to see the good. But they also don't have to do that too often. They tend to be quite successful from the ones that I know. But they do. They look for the big picture, and I think that's a very admirable quality that they have. Not just about them, but what is the greater good for the group.
Yeah, the Eagles. I always go to them when I have issues. Issues to me are just stories made up. But still, I live in the 3D world, so when I do feel like there's an issue in my life, I go for consult to the Eagles and the Condors group next.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And I'm assuming that Hunbatsmen, part of his name refers to eagle, Hunbatsmen.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
he is. The only issue I had with this elder, and I knew him personally, and I did some work with him, but I had an issue with him calling himself that.
Yes.
So it's like calling yourself a shaman. You know, once you say you are, you're not. So yeah.
So true. So true. Yeah. Yeah. And yet he was sort of a figurehead for getting people very interested in the Mayan culture, you know?
Absolutely. There is no such a thing as bad publicity, and that we have very, very clear in the Mayan world. That's why we highly appreciate Carlos Barrios and, the Dream Spell calendar and all the calendars that have spun out of the moon calendars.
Yes.
They're all highly appreciated because it brings light to people seeking to get to know better themselves.
More about the world. Yeah, exactly.
It's so beautiful.
Yeah. Now the owl is so subtle. I find the owl people so fascinating because they're very wise and they're very telepathic, but they don't have to talk about it, perhaps like a person who's trying to be a shaman so hard. It's so natural to them. They're so naturally introspective that I see them as great healers. And I personally take their advice very seriously because I know how hard they have thought about what they have to say. And yet they are self-conscious. They oftentimes will say, I didn't get it right, or I'm not certain. But it's because they care so much to do the right thing. Have you experienced that same?
And when we're speaking of the owl, we're speaking about the Akbal.
Yes.
Yes, I am living with one of them.
Aha! Yeah. Exactly.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's the mother of Raven, our 1-year-old daughter. So,
she's such a beautiful baby. Mm-hmm.
I am very familiar with the owl and very, very accepting of all of her virtues. Yes.
Yes, the wisdom is so intact, so deep. Yeah.
Yes.
I'm here at my parents' house. We've just moved in, and my father was the owl. And I'm telling you, the older he got, the more psychic he was. He would say something sometimes. He was having Parkinson's disease, and he was saying what I was about to say, as if he had seen the words in front of him. It was so interesting. Now, Caban, yeah. Question?
No, we only have 10 minutes left. So.
Yes, so we need to go to Wendy, who is Light Flower. Okay, Light Flower, Ahau. Wendy, this is such a a very special, because it is the last sign. It is the sign of light. And Jose, correct me if I'm not there, but many of the important events surrounding the new calendar had to do with this very enlightened, moving toward the future in the most positive way. And I've known Wendy, and we've worked on White Lions protests and charity work together. She is such a dedicated spiritual person, and I find such an incredible purity and beauty in that. How can you talk to Wendy about her chart? August 10th, 1965.
Yeah, thank you for that. First of all, that I am also an Ahau number 4. So to begin with, we are in the same tribe. So there's no mistake there that we are coming together in this way. Is there a way to share my screen now?
What should we do, Linda?
Stop your share, Kari, and then Jose.
New share?
Yeah.
Okay, stop share. There we go.
Jose, you click on the green box, the bottom.
Down at the bottom, yeah?
Yeah.
Then click on the document and then share screen again.
Yeah.
Great, it's working, great.
It's coming. There you go.
Okay.
There we go, Wendy.
So here's Wendy. And again, we consider past the moment of conception all the way to eternity. The present is a block of time from birthday to birthday. So from August 2017 to August 2008, that's the present in the middle of the screen. And the future started for her in 2015 in August 10th. So we talk about the future, past, and present at the same time. That's the reason why it was designed this way, to see it all together. So yes, the Akbal is her middle of the past, and with that comes the rose, the transformation, the seed, and the Jaguar. Then we have in the present this year, sacred authority to do whatever she wants. She doesn't need to ask permission or ask any of the people who feel or think they have authority over her, because they don't. She is the one who has sacred authority to do anything she wants.
Ooh, Wendy.
She has the wisdom of the crocodile, which we spoke of earlier. Those are the creators of the universes, creators of the planets, the ones who have all the wisdom and the knowledge. So this year, anyone who argues with Wendy is going to have a really hard time in the 3D world.
Wendy.
Men particularly are going to have a very hard time accepting her power and her wisdom. So some of these men that are around her will transform into something else that she has not seen in their 3D faces. So they will walk away. Some of them who cannot, well, most of them who will not be able to handle the power and the wisdom and in Wendy. So it is important that she doesn't become the sacrifice to Deer and start pleasing other people. It is important that, especially this year, throughout 2019, she stays in her ground and her strength and her wisdom, so things can move properly forward without any delays. Don't try to be saving anyone to your path, because they are not going to accept your wisdom and kindness. So seeing the future in the same year, in the present, we have that you have the ability with the sacred authority. You also have that caneel, the seed, which is really, really good to create abundance, material abundance in the 3D world. Very psychic, this since 2013, very, very easy for her to see things in the dark or see things that other people cannot see. Very good bridge between the spiritual world and the 3D world. I would recommend Well, I usually don't recommend, but I see that the fire is one of the tools that she can use to heal people and heal herself. If there's anything that she's going through or coming through. Uh, just take advice and refuge in the light of a candle, the flame of a candle, or in a fire ceremony that you can do yourself. The sacred fire that to heal, Mayan fire that makes you a representation of the sun here on Earth. So that gives you that tool to heal yourself and others. And just remember that in this new world that started in December 22nd of 2012, and it goes on for the next 26,000 years, your job, your only job, is to be joyful. That's your new job.
That's a good one.
So, get anything you want, anything that you need for your purpose. All you got to do is smile. So, pretty good job. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Very nice. It's so complex. It's so beautiful.
Yeah, I thought I would storm because of the time that I was born, but I guess I had that wrong.
Yeah, I don't see any storms in here, but you can. Oh yeah, there is a storm on the present. So that just even adds more to the crocodile and the authority. You might have to push your way through. When that comes, just try to remember that all your decisions are the right decisions for the highest good, and it doesn't matter what people think of it. It's easy for me to say because I'm not the storm, but sometimes we have to scream to get things moving. That's the sacred authority that you have come to in this particular year. So yeah, there's the authority issues. You know, people who feel they have authority over Wendy are going to have not a good time this year.
Watch out for Wendy. Does that make sense to what's going on, Wendy?
Yeah. Well, you know, I have a solar arc Mars and Sag squaring my Pluto Saturn, and I kept thinking, oh, it's just menopause, but I realized it's that Mars and Sag does not put up with anything.
So it's okay to be up on the soapbox because there's no time to waste.
The way you're saying it, that is not time to put up with anything. That's a lightweight.
And I was thinking about crocodiles.
It's a light way to say it, a good way to say it. I rather will have you switch the thinking to you're absolutely correct in everything you think and do. And anybody who has a problem with it does not need to be around you. It is for the greatest. It is for the greatest good, but if you'd rather be the deer and sacrifice for the others, then that's, of course, always a choice.
Absolutely. Very cool. Any questions, Wendy?
Yeah, very good. Very good to hear all of it. It's actually right on target. So it's about just embracing all of that authority and really, you know, stepping out and teaching more. And I could ask a lot of questions because if I finish my book and start really putting myself out there, you know, with the animal work and filling up the space. Yeah.
If we're friends on Facebook, I put out my book that's called The Butterflies, Memoirs Through Space and Time for just to anyone to download it on Facebook. So that would be a good reinforces of what we're talking about. And also, you know, all the words that we've spoken here, they're good, but they're only a scratch of the surface. Here you have 15 of your personalities that you can delve into. There's 250,000 different writers, different perspectives. So there's plenty of material that you can reinforce your feelings and your visions from. If you follow these animals and forces of nature that we're showing on the screen, there's plenty or more that you can find out on your own. And of course, whatever applies. And since you are the crocodile, please take what really serves you and disregard anybody else or anything else that people say.
Yes.
Mm.
So the book is free online too.
Yes, I did see it. I did see it. How did you see that Kari was going to move? You saw that in her chart? You can see that in the chart? Or needed to move? Can you see that in my chart? I might do a session since we're out of time, but
the move right now is like the move on the move. Everybody should move. Everybody should be on the move because it's a period of instability, which is the one like us who can, in my case, I can just backpack my clothes and put my books in storage and move to Argentina tomorrow if I needed to. But that's like the wind, moving like the wind. So a move is always going to be very good for anybody in between 2012 and 2032. You usually, if you stay more than 3 months in the same place, you start feeling like in jail. So it is a good thing to move around. It's also a good thing to have stability. If you have stability, great. So keep one home here and one home over there and one home everywhere. That's really easy when you're teaching because whatever it is that you're teaching right now is highly necessary. We need that material everywhere. So don't stay, or how do you say, sell yourself short? Go everywhere.
Yes, don't sell yourself short. Now, I'm going to just suggest that you guys continue to speak, and I'm going to follow up with the last two signs. So what I'm going to do, Jose, is ask you to turn yours off, and I'm going to share mine one more time. Thank you, sweetie. And let's see, here we go. All righty, I'm coming down to the bottom. So Ahau is light flower. We have Caban, which is earthquake. Yes, these were the two we did not have a chance to do. So Caban, progressive, opinionated shamans, very futuristic and energetic. So these people are very high energy. I don't honestly know anyone that I can identify as Caban. But it looks as though it's important to really create a plan because it sounds like earthquake people come out of the blue with something kind of shocking and futuristic and people don't quite get it. Would you say that works, Jose?
Yeah, that is actually a good description of the shadows. You know, again, I don't focus on shadows. So what I see in the Caban people are the ones who they have like they actually have a wand in their hand that can grant people's wishes and dreams come true. Because of the energy they have, we call it telluric energy. We're talking about Mother Earth. They can actually, their prayers are stronger, or they're listened. For some reason, their prayers are stronger than others, so they can grant people's wishes. But at the same time, when they're not in their good behavior, they can hurt themselves by thinking bad of themselves. They go up in big depression too.
Oh, yeah, because they don't really see how magical they are. Yeah.
Right, exactly.
Yeah,
yes.
Okay. And last one that comes before Ahau is Etsnab, flint, knife, or mirror. And Wendy, I'll just share with you that our friend Maurice is the flint or the mirror. Yeah. So, you know, very truthful and very integrity oriented, very social. So what I see with the Etsnob is they're very good counselors because they're very they think about things very carefully before they say them. They don't make decisions lightly, even though our friend Maurice is constantly traveling and it seems as though he's just going with the wind. If you really get to know it, it's all very carefully planned out. And so I think that it's a good sign for someone who is going to be an advisor. Maurice is the advisor to the White Lions. He's the astrologer to the White Lions, and it really takes the job very seriously. So I like that mirror idea. What do you see in these people, Jose? What's your description?
Yeah, I wanted to say, this is the last sign. I want to say that this version of the Mayan calendar, it comes out of Yucatan. That's why the language that is being used is Yucatec Mayan. So in the other versions of what I carry is, we call it Tihash, which is another Mayan language, which basically means black obsidian. So the black obsidian people are the ones that we mold into exorcists. These are the people who can extract any spirit, any illness, whether it's mental, physical, or spiritual illnesses. They can easily snap their fingers and cure people. So that's what we see. And I wanted to say thank you for bringing the Yucatec calendar out. I haven't looked at it in a while, so it was a good reminder of the 18 hours disparity that we have. So, yeah.
Oh, I see. So that's the 18 hours. Good. Yes. And that's what I do see about our friend Wendy and I, because he's not afraid to take on the big scary project. Yeah. Yeah. So it is like an exorcism. You know, you don't know how deep it's going to be, how difficult it's going to be. Yeah. And then, as we said, we come to, oh, goodness, we have Kauk. Okay, so this is the very last one. Kauk is the rainstorm, healing, curious, introspective, and warm. These people are just so dear because they are people who are very willing to make room for others. They don't have to be the leader. They need to realize that they have a lot of wisdom, but they really like the freedom of new experiences. And so they, in many ways, they have a blessing about them because they don't have to hold on to status, I don't think. So rainstorm for you, Jose, is it Kauk or is it a different?
Yeah, it's just pronounced a little different. It's pronounced Kawak.
Okay.
But it is kind of the same thing. And then this one we see shadows, authority. These are the ones who are willing to lightning, struck the mountain with lightning and set it on fire because they know they can produce a greener pasture next time. So these are the ones who stay single, or they have many marriages in throughout their lifetime, and it's they have usually also trouble with authority, anger management issues, but it's not a bad thing. We don't see bad. We see it as necessary to be that way because someone's got to do it. Someone's got to become anger and push the way around so things get done. So I wanted to say just thank you to my elder, Jim Petruzzi. I asked him to join and listen to it, and it's interesting that you brought up the Yucatec calendar because he is in Yucatan and he performed my masterful ceremony yesterday in Tulum. So
how beautiful.
Thank you, Jim. I know you're out there and you're listening, so I want to say thank you. So the timing was very beautiful for you to bring the Yucatec version of the Mayan calendar.
And I also want to say a special thank you for attending Cynthia, the keeper of the white buffalo. She has moved the buffalo from California in August where there were the terrible fires. And the people kept saying, we're not going to have a farm ready for the buffalo until September. She said, no, we have to do it now. So the buffalo are now safe in their beautiful new land in Ohio, near Athens in Amesville. And this summer, we're so excited, Jose, for you to join us if the timing is exactly right for you. for our special celebration on the summer solstice. Cynthia, any words? Would you like to unmute?
Okay, Kari, guys, we're going to have to end this meeting because we have gone way over time.
Yes. Okay. Well, we thank everyone for their attendance today, and Wendy for being such a fantastic volunteer. Jose, your wisdom is just such a beautiful thing. I learned so much this evening. Thank you, everybody. And thank you so much, Linda. It's such a pleasure to have you with us.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kari. Thank you, Jose.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye now.